State Senate map and the Congressional map before the committee today. The chair is going to begin with the State Senate map, and the chair will give the Senate chair or chairs a minute to get up there and get ready. We'll start with the State Senate map, and the chair will remind members or tell members, if you were not there this morning, the chair presented the State House map in the Senate Redistricting Committee, and there was essentially no debate, and so they did defer to the map that we passed out, and so the chair would obviously recognize any member who wants to speak or ask questions, but ask members to remember that the Senate deferred to us today. Senator Newton, the gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members. Thank you for having us here. I just wanted to say, with regard to the Senate map, we worked very hard to ensure that our map complied with the majority opinion in the Supreme Court. We believe we have done that, and I just ask you to support this so we can go on and take this to the next step. Thank you.
Is there any discussion or debate? Representative Hawkins.
Zach Hawkins, Durham County. I just have a few questions, and again, thank you for your work and for the opportunity to ask you questions. First question is, how many of the districts have a composite score of 50% or more or higher in the districts that you've outlined?
I'm not sure, Representative, I don't have that data in front of me.
Maybe we can defer to
Representative Hawkins,
staff.
Chair is going to recognize staff. I think they've got that question, and Representative Hawkins remembered to state his name before he spoke, and so Chair will remind folks to continue to follow that example and state your name before you speak. Staff, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is Erica Churchill from Legislative Analysis. And Representative Hawkins, looking at the election contest report, the 2016-2020 composite, which is contained in the stat pack at your desk, for I believe this is the congressional plan. District 1 is at 53.94% Democrat. District 2 is at 63.30% Democrat. District 4 is at 66.17% Democrat, and District 12 is at 66.10% Democrat.
Senator Newton, the gentleman's recognized.
I apologize for interrupting Ms. Churchill there, but those are the congressional numbers?
Just real.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Churchill, you're recognized to speak to the Senate map.
Apologize for that. Now on Senate Bill 744, the Senate map. District 3% Democrat is 52.21. District 5% Democrat is 56.66. District 11% Democrat is 50.57. District 13% Democrat is 62.09. District 14% Democrat is 70.51. District 15% Democrat is 65.86. District 16% Democrat is 63.76. District 18% Democrat is 50.12. District 19 is 54.86% Democrat. District 20 is 70.73% Democrat. District 22 is 77.76% Democrat. District 23 is 64.54% Democrat. District 27 is 56.25% Democrat. District 28 is 74.2% Democrat. District 32 is 58.76% Democrat. District 38 is 78.55% Democrat. District 39 is 63.08% Democrat. District 40 is 69.19% Democrat. District 41 is 66.33% Democrat. District 42 is 53.28% Democrat, for a total of 20 of 50 districts, above 50% Democrat.
Representative Hawkins.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so really appreciate you doing that, staff. And so that's 20. So she answered my question. And the question for the chairman is, do we believe that there are any competitive seats? Because I think if we're talking in partisan terms, I believe that's what, I don't know what the, I follow your math over there, but our math is better in the House, I guess. But the supermajority, balance, how does that work with this map?
Thank you.
Gentleman's recognized. Yeah.
Representative Hawkins, our math is that there are 27 of the 50 seats that lean Republican. You asked if there were any competitive seats, and yes, there are. The map is very competitive. And from the enacted map to our now remedial map, changes that we have made in the districts that were contested in the court case. Senator Daniels' seat is 2.4 points now more Democratic. The Kravick seat, 6.6 points now more Democratic. Berger's seat, Phil Berger's, 5.1 points more Democratic. Jeff Jackson's seat, 3.6 points more Democratic. Batch seat, 0.8 points more Democratic. And the Crawford seat, 2.3 points more Democratic. So we've made a number of changes to ensure competitiveness across the state. In fact, we believe that if either party runs good candidates and good campaigns and touches the issues that people care about, either party could have a majority at the end of the next election.
Representative Hawkins.
Thank you for the questions, and I appreciate that ending. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Further discussion or debate on the bill? Representative Stevens.
I'm just moving for a favorable report.
Members, you've heard the motion from Representative Stevens. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. All those opposed. Is someone going to call a division? I thought so. All right, we'll call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Representative Adams. Aye. Representative Adams, aye. Brockman.
No.
Representative Brockman.
No.
Representative Brockman, no. Representative Carney. No. Carney, no. Cooper Suggs.
No.
Cooper Suggs, no. Dixon.
Yes.
Dixon, yes. Hardister.
Aye.
Hardister, aye. Harrison.
No.
Harrison, no. Hawkins.
No.
Hawkins, no. Hastings.
Aye.
Hastings, aye. Brendan Jones. Aye. Brendan Jones, aye. Mills.
Aye.
Mills, aye. Reeves.
No.
Reeves, no. Rogers.
Yes.
Rogers, aye. Soka.
Aye.
Soka, aye. Warren.
Aye.
Warren, aye. Zachary. Bell.
Aye.
Bell, aye. Stevens. Aye. Stevens, aye. Richardson. He shows he's online.
Representative Richardson, can the gentleman hear us?
Yeah, let me get back with you. I was distracted 1 second. Can you recall and call me later?
Yeah, we can call on you later. We'll call on you at the end as to whether you want to vote yes or no. Madam Clerk, go ahead and continue on.
Representative Sane.
Aye.
Sane, aye. Torbett.
Aye.
Torbett, aye. Representative Richardson.
Representative Richardson, this is the state Senate map that's being presented. Does the gentleman wish to be recorded as voting on it?
What did my Democratic colleagues do?
They all, I think they voted against it. But we haven't counted it up yet.
Vote no.
Representative Richardson, no. Let's see, 1, 2, 3,
Thanks for your indulgence.
Yes, sir.
13, 13, 7, do you want to abstain?
13 voting yes and 7 voting no. The bill passes and receives a favorable report. Members, we will now move into the congressional map.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members.
And Senator Daniel is recognized to present S-745, second edition.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. You have the congressional map before you with the stat pack. I guess I'd start by, maybe start with the fact that all of us earlier in the week knew that, well, let me first say, while the Senate took the lead on this map, we did work in conjunction with Chairman Hall and Speaker Moore and his staff and other members throughout this process. And so, as you know, earlier in the week, we released a map that we thought was going to be the map that would be before us today. But we're all aware that the Supreme Court had given us two metrics by which we need to grade maps, that being the mean median, that needs to be plus or minus 1%, and then the efficiency gap analysis, which needs to be less than 7%. When we drew the original map that was released earlier this week, we thought that it was going to meet both metrics, but in fact it only met the mean median and was outside of the boundaries that the Supreme Court had given us for the efficiency gap. So we went back to the drawing board and realized that the only way to achieve compliance with the efficiency gap was to create more additional competitive districts. So the first map we considered to be a 752 map, and the map that you see before you has 4 competitive districts rather than the 2 from the other map. Those, I guess, being the 4 competitive districts now being 13, 14, and I believe 6 and 7. This map scores a minus 0.61 on the mean median score and also a minus 5.3 on the efficiency gap score. So it is compliant with the Supreme Court's stated objective guidelines, and be glad to answer any questions about it. Obviously the picture is worth 1,000 words. You can see what's in front of you. Be glad to try to answer any questions.
Is there discussion? Representative Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Chair Daniel. I tried to listen in on the Senate committee so that I have some context of what we're looking at. So if you don't, I have a couple of questions, but I would appreciate if Ms. Churchill could continue with her, the percentage, the performance that you were going through.
Ms. Churchill.
I believe those are all in your stat pack.
Oh, they are?
And there's a variety of different races that were analyzed, including the composite and then some individual races. They should be in the stat pack. Is that correct?
The chair's going to look through it, but the chair believes the gentleman's correct that all these numbers are in the stat pack. So, Representative Harrison, are you okay with looking at that stat pack to
Yes, sir. And I'm
ascertain?
sorry, it's Pricey Harrison, Guilford County. So I had several questions. I read the order, tried to read most of the opinion. The previous congressional maps were struck down based on the violation of our Constitution, free election, free speech, equal protection, freedom of assembly. And I looked at this map compared to the map that was struck down. And while I appreciate the fact that Guilford County is no longer split into 3 congressional districts, it's now split into 2. And have been associated with other counties that are not like-minded. We had a lot of public commentary. While we didn't have a hearing in Guilford County per se, we had a hearing in Forsyth and Alamance, Alamance. And so folks, and I attended both of those, and folks were very strong-willed about the need to keep the triad together. The fact that there's a lot of similarity, and I'm just trying to figure out how you had arrived at this map that has Guilford drawn in all the way down to Harnett and the other half of Guilford drawn down to Cabarrus, and not with what seems to make more sense to have it with Forsyth.
Gentleman's recognized.
So, Representative Harrison, I think maybe the simple but not satisfying answer to that is that if you looked at the previous edition of the map that we released earlier this week, had those 2 counties together, as you mentioned, the Triad District, and it just didn't score appropriately with the Supreme Court metrics. So between our members who were drawing and then the House leadership who were drawing, we went back to the drawing board and created additional competitive districts so that this map has 4 competitive districts rather than the 2 in the previous map, which then brought it into compliance.
Lady continues to be recognized.
I I appreciate that. And I appreciate that, that you've used these two metrics, and I am still learning this stuff, so a lot of it's over my head. But I do know the Supreme Court gave other metrics to use, and I'm not sure why you all settled on the efficiency gap and mean median only. It seemed like there were several opportunities. I don't know if you want to respond to that, more of a comment than a question. I guess my other question is the concerns that have been expressed. We all haven't had a lot of time to look at this, but I appreciate the fact that we in the House have had a lot more time than the folks in the Senate. It seems that, so I will just state for the record that I think it's a real problem splitting the three major cities in the triad into three different congressional districts, which are all included with counties that aren't at all similarly aligned. There also seems like, why is the Sandhill split up? I guess you're going to give me the same answer. I don't want to be a pain. It seems like the Sandhills are split up and Cumberland is in a different district than the rest of the Sandhills, and now you've got Fort Bragg split.
Gentleman's recognized.
I think it's the same answer. We needed to create additional competitive districts, and this was really the only practical area of the state that was sort of feasible, based on where the different parties are situated in their residency.
Representative Harris.
Follow up. I won't make these questions anymore because you're giving me the same answer. I don't want to waste everybody's time. There are concerns about the fast-growing suburbs of Raleigh and Southern Wake County. Apex, Holly Springs, Fuquay-Varina, and Garner are put in a district that stretches all the way down to Duplin. With very different interests. I've heard concerns expressed about the fact that the city of Cary is now split, and Charlotte split in half of it in its own district, and then another half split put into a district that includes Gaston and Cleveland and parts of Rutherford. City of Greenville split in half, and Goldsboro split. And I guess I do have a question. The municipality splits in this map compared to the enacted map.
Gentleman's recognized.
I'd refer that to staff, if we could, Mr. Chair.
Staff is recognized to answer the question.
And Mr. Chair, we'll have to pull out the stat pack from the enacted plan to get this number, but again, in the stat pack, there is a municipality by district report. It reports that there are a total of 553 municipalities, and the number of splits within the plan that is before you is 45. Of those, only 33 involve population.
Representative Harrison.
I appreciate that. I don't really want to waste the committee's time on this, but I just think it's really important to point out that from my sort of limited perspective here, this map doesn't seem to be an improvement on the map that got struck down by the court for violating our Constitution. Folks in Guilford are pretty upset about how they are split into these different congressional districts that make no sense and very different from the current congressional district we have. And I'm not talking about the enacted map, but the map that the district that Representative Manning represents right now. I think there's probably a better way to do this. That's all I want to say, and I thank you, for your indulgence, Chair Hall and Chair Daniel. Thank you.
Representative Brockman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to really just second Representative Harrison's frustration as a member of the Guilford County delegation about how frustrated we are to be separated the way we are. And I guess I do have a question. I'm not going to belabor the point because I think Representative Harrison did a great job of articulating what the frustrations are. But my question would be, are you telling us that this is the only way that you are going to be able to draw these maps? This is the only option that is available, is to split us up the way we are being split up?
Gentleman's recognized.
I'm trying to see where Representative Brockman is.
He's on the computer.
Oh, okay.
In the middle.
I guess not to be cute, in a congressional map, there's an infinitesimal amount of ways that you can draw a map. In 2 weeks, we thought we had the solution until yesterday afternoon, had to go back to the drawing board and sort of rapidly drew this map. So it is a compliant map. I would go back to Representative Harrison's question a minute ago, because I know staff answered the question that 33 municipalities were split that included population, but only 14 of those only 14 of those were not because of county line splits. You know, like that were not municipalities that split, that straddled a county line.
Further discussion or debate? Representative Zucklin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When I look at this map, what it drives me to believe is that the Supreme Court has made some erroneous decisions in their decision to make redistricting slavishly obey numbers. Now, I use the Fort Bragg area as an example. Fort Bragg is the largest military installation in the United States, largest military installation in the world. One of the main economic drivers for Cumberland, Harnett, Moore, Lee, and Hope counties. It actually is in more than Cumberland County. And because of going to these numbers that we've been mandated to go by, now we have a district which for my county makes little sense. I understand that when we initially did redistricting that we did consider communities of interest, which now I'm hearing some of my Democrat colleagues talk about communities of interest, yet we've been forced down a road to obey statistics, which statistics, as good as they may or may not be, are not human beings, and human beings do not follow statistics. I'm disappointed in this draw of the map, even though it does appear to meet the Supreme Court's guidelines, but it just points out to me that statistics is not the answer to redistricting.
Further discussion or debate
Mr. Chairman,
on the bill?
I don't disagree with that.
inquiry of the chair.
Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you. Clarity, please. I'm looking at a map that has Guilford broken into 2 congressional districts. I think I heard Representative Harrison say 3, and just making sure that the maps I have are the same maps we're
Chair
discussing.
assumes the lady was talking about the enacted map and not this particular one. Is that correct? And she's signaling that's correct.
Copy that. Thank you, Mr.
Further
Chair.
discussion or debate on the bill? If not, Representative Torbett moves for a favorable report of the bill. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed will say no. The clerk will call the roll.
Adams. Adams, aye. Brockman.
No.
Brockman, no. Carney.
No.
Carney, no. Cooper Suggs.
No.
Cooper Suggs, no. Dixon. Yes. Dixon, yes. Hardister.
Aye.
Hardister, aye. Harrison.
No.
Harrison, no. Hawkins.
No.
Hawkins, no. Hastings.
Aye.
Hastings, aye. Brendan Jones. Brendan Jones, aye. Mills.
Aye.
Mills, aye. Reeves. Reeves, no. Rogers.
Yes.
Rogers, yes. Soka.
No.
Soka, no. Warren. Warren, aye. Zachary. Bell. Bell. Bell, aye. Stevens. Stevens, aye. Richardson. Richardson, no. Sane.
Aye.
Sane, aye. Torbett.
Aye.
Torbett, aye. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 12 to 8.
Members 12 having voted in the affirmative and 8 in the negative, the bill receives a favorable report. Members, the chair anticipates us beginning session really as soon as we can get these bills back over to the House chamber. So if you will, go back over to the House chamber and just be lingering around. Again, it takes some time for central staff to get these bills over there and get them ready to go. But as soon as we can get them on the floor to be heard, we'll do our best to do that. So with there being no further business before this committee, it is now adjourned.